Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone. My name is Saman Habibi and I'm back with another video for you all today. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's, a topic that gets talked about a lot, especially on this channel, since this is a channel dedicated to investment properties. So I'm going to be talking about whether this is a good time for you to be buying an investment property or not. And if it is, why? We'll go through a couple scenarios. If it's not, we'll go through why it's not a good time to for you to buy an investment property. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you a couple properties that have recently sold, and I'm going to show you what these properties look like and the price that they sold for. Excellent. So let's just get right into it. So what are some reasons that you may be interested in buying an investment property? And, is it a good time for you to make that purchase right now? We know that there's a lot of volatility in the market. Prices are going up, prices are coming down, interest rates are going up, they're starting to come down. So, if you were looking for an investment property, does it make sense? Yes or no? So what I want to talk about first is let's talk about, some of the reasons as to why you would be making this purchase. So the first thing that stands out to me is if, there's a life event for you to want to enter and get into the market. So, you're recently been married or you have a new job, you have to move to a new location. Does this make sense for you to purchase an investment property? And my answer to that would be yes. So if you're looking to get into the market, I would say that an investment property, whether it be a duplex or a triplex, is a great way to get into the market. And why do I say that? Well, because right now we know that the biggest cost in home ownership is the mortgage portion of the property. And because interest rates are so high, that cost has just increased exponentially. So being able to have a property where you can generate some sort of rental income allows you to alleviate some of that pain and reduce some of your expenses. So if we were to talk about a scenario, if we're talking about a home that is worth, let's say $850,000 with 20% down and let's say a 5% interest rate on that, your monthly mortgage cost would be around $3,600 a month. Your property taxes on that would be around $400 a month, and your insurance on that would be around $150 a month. Those are your fixed expenses, and that would essentially make your total cost, your total fixed cost, approximately around $4,200, which to some it's affordable, to some it's not. Now, what's great about investment properties is that you typically have the opportunity to generate some sort of rental income from that property. So if your fixed cost is $4,200, and let's say you're going to rent out the basement, you can generate anywhere from $1,700 to $1,900 a month, depending on the size and the location of the basement. So now having this additional income will allow you to decrease your cost from $4,200 a month down to $2,300 a month or $2,500 a month, depending on what you can generate from the basement. So, that is one of the first reasons as to why you would want to buy an investment property or buy a property that has 2 units for you to be able to, take advantage of lowering your mortgage costs. Now, the second reason why it would make sense for you to purchase an investment property right now is if you already have an existing mortgage on a property that you've sold, and now you have the ability to take that mortgage and transfer it over to a new property. Now, people do this because, the asset class that they own perhaps doesn't fit their thesis criteria. Maybe it's away from where they're currently investing and they want to bring their investments a bit more closer to where they are so they can take care of these properties more hands-on. And what happens is people sell these properties that they've owned for a long time, and they have a really good mortgage on this property with a better rate. And once they sell that property, they can now come and purchase a new property and bring that mortgage over. So this would allow you to essentially eliminate that risk of having a high mortgage, because you already have a product that has a better interest rate associated with it. So by getting a new property and porting over the mortgage, you already have a savings there. Typically in this scenario, you have a mortgage for a certain amount that you're bringing over, and you may require some additional borrowing power to be able to make the new purchase. So, it does end up becoming a blended rate. However, the rates based on the cheaper product that you have and the new product you have still work out to be cheaper than what the market is currently offering right now. The third reason why you would want to consider buying an investment property right now in this market is if there's an ability to add additional units to the property. So this has been a very popular topic right now in the market. Everyone's talking about the ADUs, the additional dwelling units, the garden suites. It's the ability to have another detached dwelling on the property. But my problem with those have been that they're typically very expensive to execute. So although you have the option to do it, there's typically a large cost associated with it. So from some of the interviews that I've done with my guests, the cost could be anywhere from, $350,000 for a 600 square foot detached garden suite, or it could be as high as $450,000. And to me, that's a very large investment that right now it's very difficult to get financing on. So typically it's some sort of cash investment or some sort of home equity line of equity being pulled out of the from an existing property to be used for that additional dwelling to be created. Now, there is another way to get a third unit, and that is if there's a way for you to grandfather in a part of the dwelling that allows for this to happen. So recently I had a client of mine who we found a bungalow for them where, it was a traditional bungalow, but the previous owner had done an addition to this bungalow where it was 2 stories. So there was the main floor and there was also a basement. So what we were able to do was take that additional addition that was added to the bungalow, and our plan is to essentially turn that into one unit. So it'll be its own self-sustaining unit. It was already within the structure. It already had a basement. It had doors, windows. It had a roof system behind it. So it wasn't that big of an investment to make. It's just more of a construction practice to be able to figure out how we can grandfather this in, and we have to go through the building and we have to go through the fire department in order to do that. And if you can just picture now a traditional bungalow where there's the top floor and the basement, this is a scenario we're going to be taking the upper unit and creating one unit out of it, the basement a second unit, and that additional addition that was done to the property is going to be the third unit. So that is a creative way for us to get 3 units out of one bungalow, and it's a very inexpensive way to do it versus the garden suite route. So now that we spoke about, 3 reasons as to why you should or it makes sense to purchase an investment property today, let's talk about why you should not be purchasing an investment property in this market. So one of the reasons why you should not be purchasing an investment property today is if you're looking to generate cash flow. So right now in this market, because of the elevated interest rates, it's extremely difficult to be cash flow positive. As I mentioned earlier, your mortgage cost is your largest portion of the numbers that you're going to be analyzing, and because that interest rate is so high, a lot of your cost is heading towards the interest component of the mortgage. And as a result, if you're an investor and your thesis is to create cash flowing properties here in the GTA, it just simply does not make sense no matter how you slice it. The only way it would make sense is if you were to plug in a very high appreciation rate, and that would be your speculative play, is that this property is going to increase in value, and that is why I'm going to purchase this property. So if you're a cash flow investor, it absolutely makes no sense right now to buy an investment property anywhere in the GTA. Another reason why you should not be making a purchase of an investment property today is if your plans are short-term. And by short-term, I mean 1 to 3 years. So if you have plans on generating cash flow into 1 to 3 years, creating appreciation in 1 to 3 years, or selling the property for profit in the next 1 to 3 years, I would say those are, the probabilities of those working out in your favor are very low. And as a reason, if that is your thesis, I would say that is a very bad reason to get into the market right now to buy a property. If you're comfortable with where the prices are today, and if you're okay not being in a cash flow positive situation, neutral or slightly below, then it makes sense. But if you want to create some funds here, additional income, then it just does not make sense right now in the GTA. And the third reason why you should not be entering the market right now is if you're hearing a lot about real estate in the market, there's a lot of conversation about real estate, and you're just feeling the sense that you're missing out. This might be the last opportunity for you to get into the market. This is absolutely no reason why you should be getting into the market right now. It's better for you to take your time, really understand what you are getting into, and determine if this is really something that you want to, take on. Because typically with home ownership comes additional costs. So, you may have some of your capital items in the home, your roof, your mechanical room, your furnace, AC, windows, doors, not work how they're supposed to. And as a result, that is an additional cost for you to incur. So if you're not in a situation where you have additional funds for these events, then, don't let fear of getting into the market be the only motivation to get in. Because once you get in, your job is not done there. Now you have additional responsibilities as a homeowner or as a landlord. Excellent. So what I like to do now is take you to my computer screen and show you some of these properties that I'm talking about that have sold recently, and we can take a look at what these properties look like, where they're located, the price point that they're selling for, and see if this is something that you would be interested in. So I'm going to take you to my computer screen right now, and right now I'm filtering for sold properties in the Durham region that have sold for up to $1.1 million. And the filters that I'm looking for are homes with 2 kitchens, which tells me that at minimum there are 2 units at these properties. So if you take a look at a map, the map here, there's a distribution of homes that have sold in the Durham region. And as you can see, most of the properties are in Oshawa, Whitby, some in Ajax, and a few in Pickering. And keep in mind, this is at the price point that we're talking about. I've capped these results to a higher purchase price of $1.1 million. And essentially what I want to show you here, or what I want to get across to you, is that if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're looking for investment properties, anywhere in the Durham region is great, but most of the activity is in Oshawa and in Whitby. So what we'll do now, I'll just zoom into a couple of the areas that I like, and we can take a look at some of these properties and see what they look like. This is a really cool property. This is a 2-story in the McLaughlin neighborhood in Oshawa. There's 4 bedrooms upstairs, 1 in the basement. There are 3 bathrooms and there are 5 parking spots. There is a garage as well. As you can see, I'll make this picture bigger. The driveway is fairly wide, where if you had a tenant in one of your units, they would have enough space to park their cars, and you would also have space here to park your car as well. And as you can see, this property sold for $965,000. So what I will do is I will pull up my spreadsheet where I do my analysis, and I'm going to take you to this section over here. So I'll just update it for the property that we're talking about. So purchase price of $965,000. Let's assume that we put 80% down at 5.27% interest rate, 30-year amortization because we're putting 20% down. Then our mortgage payments would be a total of $4,246. Property taxes would be around $472. Insurance would be around, let's change this to $150 a month. So our total cost on a monthly basis would be $4,868 a month. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that we're going to rent out the basement, and this property being located in McLaughlin, which would be considered an A-type neighborhood, is likely going to generate some, higher incomes, higher rental incomes. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll show you what the basement unit looks like. So this is the entrance to the basement. This is the living room. This is the kitchen area. Let's go through. Unit looks nice, bright, pot lights. We have a bedroom with a window in it. This is the bathroom. So, I'm comfortable saying that this unit can generate at least $1,700 a month. So if we do that, then our total money that we're going to be out of pocket to live here would be $3,168. And this to me is a good reason to get into the market, because you're getting a nice detached home that is nicely renovated. I'll show you some of the pictures. You can tell that they've done some tile work, they've done some flooring work. The stairs have been updated. It looks like the kitchen has been updated as well. Here's the fireplace. Let's take a look at the kitchen. Nice backyard. So all in all, this is one of the bedrooms. This is one of the bathrooms. So they've definitely done a good job renovating the home. So all in all, you're able to get into this home and live at this home at a bit of a discount because you're generating some rental income. So I hope you got to, hear some of the reasons as to why it makes sense right now to purchase an investment property, and some reasons as to why you should not be purchasing an investment property. And I showed you some results on the MLS as some of the sold properties that have taken place here. So if you have any questions about this topic, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my contact information in the show notes below, and I'll also leave my calendar link below as well. So if you would like to set up a call with me, please feel free to do that. You can scroll down, check out my Calendly link, and you can book a call directly into my calendar, and we can have a one-on-one conversation. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions about any of the topics that we've discussed today, please drop them in the comment section below, and I will make sure to address them right away.